Hey everybody, welcome back. This is Georgiana with Expressions Craft Studio, and we are finishing our series with Annigan Creates, linked in the comments below, where she shows you how to make 10 flowers using teardrop shapes. Today's number 10. And we are going to finish up. I've coiled all my flowers, and I just want to show you how pretty, other than the fact that it's raising up like a cinnamon bun. Oops, fell over. How pretty my coils turned out. Until I tried to hand wrap them and give them a little extra space on the end. And then they all ended up looking like this. Not so pretty. So we're going to try this one and see if, we can hold its shape. I don't know why they don't stay looking as nice when I wrap, other than I'm really manhandling these things. So let's attach our strip here, and it's already moving around on me. I tried using some gel glue. What is it? It's called Clear Gel Tacky Glue by Aleene's, and I did like the way it held. It held really quickly, and allows you to move on with your work. But my bottle's plugged up, and trying to use the toothpick technique like I've seen a lot of other quillers do, it didn't really work out for me. Now, I'm using the small strips, the 3mm or the 1/8 inch strips, whereas they're using bigger strips, 5mm or 1/4 inch, but maybe that makes a difference. I haven't tried those yet, so we'll see. But for right now, I've got a lot of the 1/8 inch or 3mm, so I'm going to stick with those. So I've wrapped that coil twice. That teardrop coil turned into a teardrop. And now I'm going to start wrapping it and leaving a little bit extra so it's not tight. And this is kind of a struggle for me, and I don't know if you'll be able to see what I'm doing. There you can kind of see. So I'm just trying to leave it a little bit over the top. And I thought, well, if I could stick a pin in there, I might could do that easier. And maybe if I pinned it to my board, it would be easier. I don't know. But if you watched the first series where we did leaves with, I think it was Annigan Creations, or she did it a lot of times where she would just do it in her hand, and I knew I wouldn't be comfortable doing that, but here I am trying to do it, and yeah, I don't enjoy it. It's hard for me to grab this stuff gently, and maybe that's why my other coils ended up looking so distorted, because they were all really nice looking. But I'm trying it anyway. It takes me a lot longer, which I'm also not a fan of. Just trying to put that pinch in the bottom there so that I can kind of see where my stuff is going. Now, I really do like this number 10 flower. I forgot what she called it. I'll try and look that up here in a minute once I'm able to put this down. But I really like the way it looks, not just in the black and white, which is what she did, and I'm trying to replicate that here. But I think it'd be pretty in any number of colors. I just like the style of it. Let me see, is that too much? It's kind of, yeah, it's a little too much. So is the one before it, but we're just gonna work with it. And that'll just go around. I can tell that I'm not getting them all the same because I'm cutting off less and less each time I do it, and maybe that's a good sign. I don't know. Pinch that at the bottom, and if I haven't dried my glue out, which I have, we'll glue this one together. Alright, well that coil stayed mostly together. So then you kind of want to pull everything down into the point of the teardrop, and you're just going to pinch the very top. And I kind of like to give it a little squish too, just to emphasize it. Now that coil stayed together pretty nicely. All the rest of them just kind of went to hell in a handbasket. Okay, so that's our flower minus our center, which we still have to do. I'm just trying to get my pen back in my glue. And I'm going to try and do the center a different way. I've got this other strip of white here, and somewhere I had a strip of brown. Maybe this was it. Nope, that's not it. It's too short. Maybe it was this one. And yes, so I've got a strip of white left over and a strip of brown. It's not quite black. Maybe that is black. Heck, I don't know now. Anyway, what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them together. Hang on. Get in here. Be quiet. Come on. Well, I tried to let the cat in, but she's changed her mind. Alright, so I'm just going to glue my white and black strips together, and then I'll coil it. And I don't know, I'll probably just let it uncoil naturally at this point, because I don't know what size hole to use on my quilling board. She used a 15 initially for the white center, which was 15 inches long. Somehow I feel like doubling it to a 30 would be way too big. Yeah, so I'm probably just going to let it uncoil naturally. I just wanted to let this glue dry for a second. Get my strips primed. And we want the black on the outside. So we're going to start curling this. And I do have one other method I want to try if this doesn't work the way I'm hoping. And my guess is if it did work really well, that's the way she would have done it. But since I don't like hand wrapping and unless I'm wrapping it tight, I'm gonna try something different. Oh, every time I have to let go, it does that. I mean, obviously it does that, but every time I think I've got it grabbed back up, I find out that I'm wrong. All right. So I'm just going to kind of let this uncoil. We'll see what we get. You done? I think you can do better than that. But we'll see. We're going to go ahead and glue it here, and then I'll find out what size that is. So we add a little bit of glue. Spread that out. Okay, that's getting kind of messy. Let's clean that off. So we're going to look and see if we can figure out what size hole this goes in. If I get all this stuff unstuck from my fingers. So that's, oh, that actually fits. That's a 19. And that's just where it uncoiled to naturally. So well, we've got that down. So we know now that the two strips needs a 19. Where are my tweezers? There they are. Let's see if I can pick that up. So I'm going to move this back out of the way. And I'm going to try if I can figure out which way to unwind this white coil to get it a little bit more. Well, that was probably a little too much. Yeah, I can see we're not getting the separation here between our layers. So, what happens if I pull it all down? Oh, see, that's why you can't pinch the white. Well, you can pinch it at the bottom though. Okay, so that's what we need to do. Okay, I'm going to do it this way. And then I'm going to push it all down to that point and hold it and do it this way. Well, I ended up, sorry, I've got a little gnat in here. Ended up pinching the white part too, which I didn't want to do. So this one definitely looks a little different than these others. Oh yeah, a lot different. I see here. Okay. Try and get a little space in here. Talk about doing this the hard way. Now I know why she does it the other way, but that still doesn't really work with my chubby fat fingers. But if you don't mind the white part being pointed too, it's just a completely different look. So, you know, that didn't work. I have one other idea, but I'm not going to try that right now. What I am going to do is we're going to glue this together. Okay, so we've got our 2-inch strip here. We're going to roll this up. This is going to be our center. No fuss, no muss, just a plain black center it looks like. And she just calls this a black and white flower, so it's not any particular type. Get our little dab of glue there. Roll that back up. Make sure it stays glued. Come on, stand up for me. There we go. Okay, so I'm just going to try and put that in the center there. Before I start gluing, I do want to show you yesterday. If you watched yesterday's video, you may remember that I put some diamond glaze in the center of the flower just to give it a kind of like a dewdrop look or whatever. And it did dry clear, even though it didn't go on clear. Sorry. So I could have used more, because when I kind of moved it around to the edges, it left a little divot in the center. Not that that matters. But if you want it to dome up, just make sure you use more. Alright, so we're going to start here. Let's just kind of see if we can gently slide everything over. That's about as gentle as it's going to get. You know what? I'm going to grab this cork board here, because I think it will be easier to pin this stuff in place while it dries. This one I don't want, that's the extra, so I'll set that up there. So I'm going to stick a pin right down in the middle so that doesn't move anywhere. And I'll get my other pins out here. And let's get this centered better so you can see what I'm doing. I sometimes forget to do that. I apologize. I did have one of you kind ladies remind me, and I do appreciate the feedback, because it's hard to always know what I'm doing wrong, even though I go back and edit the videos. Usually it's just the gluing that you miss out on, but I'm going to try and pull this up like that, so it's touching. There we go. So let's grab another one, and I want to make sure I glue the right end, which is the less pointy. I don't know if it's less pointy or if it's just kind of got an extra little swoosh to it, but I'm going to glue this one straight across since we have 6 petals. And take another pin. Now I probably should have put a piece of freezer paper under here, but I just threw it away because I had glue all over it. So put some more glue on here. And we'll take this one and do the same thing. Before I pin it, I kind of want to make sure I've got them placed properly. Yeah, that looks pretty good. So take this one and just kind of try to nudge it up against that center without adjusting it too much. Alright, 2 more to go. I do think this is a really pretty little flower. I'm just not comfortable with the hand wrapping, and again, it's probably just another one of those things where I just need to practice more. But I just don't have the dexterity in my fingers that I used to have, and I don't know if that's something you can get back once you've lost it. I would love, if anybody knows the answer to that, to share that with me, because I really have no idea. If there was some kind of exercise or something I could do, I would gladly do it. Just nudging that up in there. And doing the same with this one. Just going to give it a little nudge to make sure it's touching. So I think we've got it all touching. Okay, so except I just used the pen for my glue in there. That wasn't very bright. So we'll make a little adjustment here to that. And let that go. Alright, so we're going to let that dry. In the meantime, I had mentioned that I think that there's another method, and I'm looking for my, oh, there it is. Looking for my husking board. So I'm trying to think. I've seen another method that a lady's done. You know what? Well, let's just play with it. We'll see. Who knows what'll happen. So I need my pens and grab my bronze one first, and we're just going to put it, we're just going to work down here because that's closer to me. And yeah, see, I feel like those are too far apart. Definitely too far apart. So let me see, where did I put my combs? They're right here. Okay, so those are closer together, so we'll use a comb instead. Alright, so let me grab a strip of something here. This is kind of almost a, it's white, but it's got a little blue tint to it. So she's using 15-inch. I'm just going to leave it the way it is. Oh, but I do need to glue a black something on the end. I had that other strip of brown. What did I do with it? I do not know. Well, you know what? Maybe I just don't need to use such long pieces. I've got these scraps right here. Why don't I just make a smaller version? Because this is just a test, right? So we don't need to be as accurate. Do my pre-curls, because otherwise, you know, I forget. And get our glue here. Okay, that's probably way more glue than I needed. Give it a little smear. Yeah, that was more glue than I needed. But that's okay because now it's on my thumb. Alright, just trying to get those lined up. Or parallel, is that the word? Parallel. I find I'm always struggling to find my words, more so now than I ever have before. Okay. So, we want to, let's see, I've seen them where they just put a little fold in it. If I remember correctly, put a little fold right there. And we're just going to kind of aim for the middle. We're not necessarily going to hit the middle because we're not going to make it that big, but we'll aim for the middle. And I don't want that underneath there. So I'll probably actually have to adjust it a little bit. Okay, so this first one we're going to go around 2 holes just because I think that'll be easier. Don't know that it's right, just think it'll be easier. And I'm not going to glue anything yet, so now we're just going to do every other one. We're just going to keep going around and building it up. I do want to say that the woman I watched glued them, but I can't remember why, and she was trying to do something different, so I'm not going to worry about that just yet. Trying to find a comfortable way to hold this where you can still see what I'm doing. More or less. So I'm just going to go until we run out of strip here. Now I'm trying not to pull it so tight, or I'm trying to remember not to pull it so tight, because I do want this to look like a circle when I'm done and not a tight oval. I probably should have used much smaller strips, to be honest, but that's okay, we're learning. Just trying to keep everything lined up. These combs are heavy, it's like they're solid, some kind of metal, but they're heavy. Alright, so is this the one I want? Yeah. Okay. So we're about to the end of the white strip. Oh, that worked out good. Looky there. I mean, the seam is right there, so I don't know if that's good or not, but alright, so let's see here. We're just going to keep going until we run out of black, which we're almost out of. So that's good. So then we're going to turn that over, and we are going to glue that one. I've got a lot of stuff going on back here. Let me just open that up a smidge. Get my glue here. Come on. There we go. Always trying to remember to put that pen back in there, because if I don't, it glues itself shut. Alright, so now I'm just going to carefully, very carefully, and I've already slipped up there, try to pull this off of here. I've got this one piece that kind of came out. Let's see here, can I get it back in? There we go. okay. So I'm going to pull everything down to the bottom down here. Oh, actually that's not the way I want to do it. I want to pull it up. I want to pull this all up. Huh. Okay, I'm trying to remember what exactly it is I was trying to do. I'm just going to move that out of the way and pinch it. Yeah, so this isn't really working out the way I'd hoped. A finer comb maybe would be better. Oh, and see, I've got my glue spot in the wrong spot, so that's definitely not going to work. Shoot. Yeah, so this is probably not the best method for this flower either. And remember, we're just playing here, so this is okay. What I shouldn't have done was I should not have glued it for sure. That would have helped. But ultimately it was not going to look the same as hand wrapping, which is, you know, like I said, live and learn. But other than the fact that I've managed to bend the, you know, the hooey out of it, it's not bad looking. I mean, it would be better if it was, you know, not all bent up and everything and didn't have this wonky part that I glued on there. But it does allow you to kind of pinch just the black stuff, or the black loops, and you know, so it's not ideal, and it's because those teeth are further apart than I would like them to be. Yeah, what I need is a smaller comb, which I'm going to have to see. I've got some stuff tucked away somewhere that are just like household items, like a comb might be in there. But anyway, now if this were wider strips, that might not turn out quite so bad. But yeah, that's what it looks like that way. So that's a no-go. So let's pull our flower off of there and see if it's gonna stick together. Let's see. Oh no, my inner loops are pulling away from my outer loops, so you do want to be careful. Let me just put my fingers down on top of everything. How about we do that? And it is glued to my corkboard, which I knew it would. Okay, so once you get done fiddling with it, it is kind of pretty. It's big. I mean, not like it's too big or anything. It's just that the coils are so loose. See that one? These two here turned out really nice. That one's not bad. But these other three, they just really got manhandled with me. Those were probably the first three that I tried to do. But this is what you want to go for, is this type of look right here, or here, you know. So, there you have it. That was flower number 10. And I really feel like it could use a little more glue, so I might try gluing some of these centers together, but I won't make you watch that. Not that I've made you watch anything. You're here by choice. Nobody's a prisoner here. All right. Well, tomorrow we're going to do something different. Maybe what we should do is try and make something with all of our pieces parts so far. If not, I know I've got lots of other flowers I want to make, and the the comb that we use to make this actually makes some really nice longer pieces that'll go in like fillers if you're doing like a dragonfly or butterfly or a unicorn or just a plain old dragon, whatever. But we'll see. What tomorrow's a surprise for both of us, so, or all of us. Hopefully there's more than one of you here besides myself. Anyway, thanks for joining me. I'll cut the comedy act because it's not really amusing me either. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Until then, happy crafting.